I've found people stay stuck in yo-yo weight loss hell because what they think is their problem is never actually their problem. I get it. 13 years ago, I was addicted to pizza, ate in large portions, hated exercise, and I thought my problem was I lacked willpower or hadn't yet found the one diet for me. It was like I had a stomachache and guessed it was gas, so I just grit my teeth through it, or I was downing random drugs hoping one would fix it, when what I needed to do was get a scan to pinpoint what's exactly wrong and then decide on the medicine. So in this video, I'll show you how to do a scan. Good news, there are only 6 main diagnoses in weight loss, and then we'll plug your diagnosis into the one process to get you unstuck. I've run this exact process with thousands of my clients, and they have been surprised by how much less they're doing now while losing weight more consistently than ever before. The 6 diagnoses range from very severe, you're very far away from goal, to least severe, you're just one adjustment away. Severity is the total of 3 measures. First is blindness. How difficult is it to spot what's actually causing you to keep repeating bad habits? So 3 means the real cause is nearly impossible to spot, while 1 means the real cause is obvious. Second is breadth. Once you spot the actual problem, how many changes do you need to make to get to goal? 3 means many changes, and 1 means the least number of changes. And last criteria is difficulty. How hard are these changes to stick to consistently? 3 means very hard, and 1 means it's on the easy end. Adding these up gives you each diagnosis' total severity. Let's start with the diagnosis that's easy to spot but hard to pinpoint the real cause. This is you if the second you're bored, stressed, or putting off something you don't want to do, you're in the kitchen, finding relief from the emotions and food. It's like you're on autopilot. Over time, you've figured out this is what's wrecking your weight loss, but knowing it hasn't stopped it. Now watch what happens tonight. Before you eat, you hear a voice in your head. Just a little snack. You know that one. After eating, you hear it loudest. Why did I do that again? But during? Nothing. You blank out. The bag's empty and you don't remember thinking anything. So blindness is a 2. You know emotional eating is wrecking your weight loss, but you're unaware of its exact script, which leaves you blind as to how to fix it. Now, the good news, you'll use the process I show you in a bit to find that script. And once you do, the fix is usually just 1 to 2 small things, a tweak to your old habits or a small mindset practice. So the breadth score is a 1. But small doesn't mean easy. Those 1 or 2 changes are some of the hardest to actually apply consistently. So the difficulty score is a 3, hardest to stick to consistently. So severity is 6. That puts you midway to your goal. The next diagnosis is one where people always reach for the wrong medicine. This is you if you start every plan on fire, meal prepped, gym bag packed, totally locked in, and then week 3 hits and the fire's just gone. You're not eating off plan for relief, but because you've lost motivation. So you go looking for motivation, an accountability buddy, a challenge group. It works. Until life happens. You skip sessions, and 3 months later, you've regained all your lost weight. You're right, you've lost motivation, but you're looking for it in the wrong place. Think about when you saw a photo of yourself that stopped you cold, or a doctor's number. You didn't need a challenge group then. You just did it. The problem is you stopped tending to that fire, so it fizzled out. This puts blindness at 2. Same as food as relief, but notice it's a different blind spot. There, you couldn't see the moment. Here, you see the problem fine, you just reach for the wrong fix. Breadth is a 2. It's not just one small tweak. You need to dig up a reason that actually moves you, and then build a practice that refuels your inner drive over and over again. And difficulty is a 3. Very hard, because finding a reason that moves you isn't something you can force in an afternoon. But the process I'll show you in a bit will break this down into bite-sized steps so you make good time to goal. Total severity, 7, which puts it at you've still got a long way to go. Next diagnosis is one people think is very severe, but is actually a lot simpler. This is you if you're already doing everything right. Like Sandra here, who was fasting, eating clean, strength training regularly, and had her protein dialed in. Yet the scale hadn't budged in years. Here's Sandra sharing her journey.
Of course, I'm a person who, like, if I learn something and it seems better than anything I'm doing, I want to onboard it. So you are doing all these things and you think you're living, the great life. But the thing that you guys brought into focus is that not all things at all times.
Specifically, depending on which stage you're at, you only need to focus on 1 to 2 things at most. In Sandra's case, she was doing too much, and her body read all that effort as a big energy demand, so it held on to fat. We cut all her habits down to just one thing for her stage, and she immediately started losing fat. So blindness is 2. You know something in your plan isn't working, but you don't see how to change it. And most people, like Sandra, end up changing all the wrong parts and stay stuck. Breath is 1. Just 1 to 2 changes needed once you identify exactly what to tweak. And difficulty is also 1. The 1 to 2 changes are typically not hard to do because you already have the consistency muscle. Total severity, 4, which means you're closest to your goal of anyone here. The problem is it's really tricky to know what that one adjustment is, but the process I'll share will help you shortcut past all the trial and error to find it. Next diagnosis is one people feel is inevitable, and so they don't even fight it. This is you if you deep down believe that losing weight comes with losing a life you like. Maybe you'd rather be the fun friend at the table than the one weighing chicken on a tiny scale. Or maybe it's simpler than that. A life of hunger, saying no, and rules sounds worse than the weight itself. When I say you can be at your goal in 6 months, you don't think, let's go. You think, sounds like an exhausting 6 months. Or, but at what cost? That right there is a defense. You've decided that weight loss and enjoying your life cannot coexist, and you don't even realize it's keeping you stuck. This is why the blindness score is 3. Breath is a 2. Not one tweak, but breaking the whole cycle. First, you need to pick only 1 to 2 things necessary for your stage and cut every other right thing, so your plan is genuinely not restrictive anymore. And then you need to rewrite your mental scripts by stacking up proof that weight loss and joy can coexist. We'll dive deeper into how to do this in the process. Difficulty is also a 2. Committing to try again when you're weary is real work, but with a plan that actually fits your stage, it's easier than what the emotional eater or novelty chaser face. Total severity is 7, which means you're a long way away from your goal. Next diagnosis you don't even see as a problem. In fact, you see it as a virtue. This is you if when your plan collides with someone else's need, your kid doesn't finish their meal so you end up eating it, your partner wants to order in, your friends had a hard day and let's just get drinks together. Every single time the tie goes to them. You're somewhat aware you're doing this, but you aren't fully seeing it as a problem because you also see it as being generous. So blindness is a 2. Now, breath is 3 because it requires renegotiating many little arrangements with many different people who are used to you always folding. And difficulty is also a 3 because every one of those renegotiations means disappointing someone you love in the moment to their face. That for you is the hardest thing there is. Total severity 8, which puts you furthest from goal. But the good news is you don't have to renegotiate all your relationships at once. The process will show you how to do it step by step. The last diagnosis may be the sneakiest one to catch. This is you if a single slip ends the whole day. You have cookies you didn't plan and you've written off the entire day. I'll start clean Monday. One bad meal doesn't stay one bad meal. It becomes a bad week. And while a part of you knows a 500 calorie slipped day won't hurt you like a 5,000 calorie slipped week, another part of you is secretly relieved to have a break from watching what you eat. This is what makes all or nothing thinking so tricky. Blindness here is 2 because you are partially aware. Breath is fortunately a 1. You don't need to change your plan, but just what happens after you slip off your plan. It's 1 tweak. But difficulty is 2, where it's 1 tweak, but it's a hard one because you're cutting off instant relief. Total severity 5, which puts you second closest to your goal. Now, how do you cover the distance to your goal? And if you identified several diagnoses, do you have to do many things? This is what weight loss programs would lead you to believe. For the emotional eaters, there are talk therapy style programs. For the stall dieter, hormonal and medical interventions are the top push. For the weight loss and joy cannot coexist group, there is intuitive eating. For the other 3, an endless series of boot camps and rule-based diets. Back in our weight loss days, my co-coach Lucy and I were also suffering from many diagnoses. We ended up spending $45,000 over 10 years combined trying to duct tape together a path to our goal. Along the way, we discovered that whether you're the emotional eater, the people pleaser, or Sandra doing everything right, the fix is the same. While the change each person has to make is highly individual, the best process to pinpoint that change was the same. Think of it like cooking. Preparing ingredients and cooking are the process you do over and over again. And yet the same process produces thousands of different recipes. Coming from engineering backgrounds, we knew the name for this process, the scientific method. So then what is this process, the scientific method? It's a simple 3-step loop to pinpoint the smallest change you specifically need to make. Step 1 is baseline. Before you change anything, you need to know not only your starting weight, but also how much of that weight is fat versus lean mass. Because you need to know if most of your weight loss is muscle loss, so you don't end up skinny fat at your goal. And you need to know if you're one of the 2 out of 3 people whose weight tends to not budge for weeks while fat keeps dropping, so you don't accidentally quit a working plan. My body fat tracker linked in the description below can help you with this. Once you have your starting point, pick one target. I recommend either tracking for awareness, just jot down everything you eat, or track toward a 15% calorie deficit. My calorie calculator linked in the description below can estimate this for you. And to go with the target, you pick one habit that addresses the most severe diagnosis for you. These are the ones I've seen work best per diagnosis, so start here. And then you proceed to step 2, experiment. You hit that one target and one habit for 7 days. Resist the urge to change anything midweek. Just run it and observe what happens. Then finally, on day 7, you do step 3, evaluate. You check 3 things. Your size, did you lose more fat than lean mass? Consistency, did you actually stick to the target and habit? And reactions, these are both your body reactions like hunger and energy, and also your mind reactions like cravings and sabotaging thoughts. Most programs only look at the first 2 and ignore the third, when that's the one most likely to lag behind, which then eventually causes your consistency to slip, and that stops size. Now you pinpoint which of the 3 is lagging behind the most, and that tells you what to adjust next week. If consistency was off, the habit was too big, make it easier. If your body or mind rebelled, your target is too hard, make it easier. If size didn't budge, but consistency and reactions were fine, then your target needs to change. I've linked my 4 light check PDF below that tells you how to change the target. And if all 3 are fine, then don't change anything. Every week as you run this loop, your plan fits your body and lifestyle better and better. This is the only approach that gets more accurate the longer you run it, because every week you're collecting data on the one person no program can account for in advance, you. That's how you pinpoint just 1 to 2 changes that matter for life-lasting weight loss. But how do you apply this 3-step process to yourself such that it doesn't take months of trial and error? You can do it in 2 ways. 1, if you want my help coaching you through your customized plan so you shortcut through all the trial and error to goal quickly, then learn more about my weight loss program in the description and comments below. Or if you want to DIY it, then you don't want to ignore this video where I share the A to Z blueprint that we use inside my weight loss program. This is the blueprint that took my co-coach Lucy and I 10 years and $45,000 combined to figure out. So you don't want to miss the complete step-by-step breakdown here. And always remember, you can do it.